these people who keep putting out this nonsense about Russia and Russia hacking black people's minds and Russia hacking Bernie Sanders voters' minds, they don't have any data to prove any of this. Well, here's some data. The Green New Deal is like one of the most popular things in all of America. And you got to give credit to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She has really, really pushed this into the mainstream. Green New Deal has overwhelming bipartisan support, a poll finds, at least for now. 64% of Republicans, including 57% of conservative Republicans, back the core tenets of the sweeping proposal. The Green New Deal is the most popular policy hardly anyone has heard of yet. 82% of Americans say they have heard nothing at all about the sweeping proposal to generate 100% of the nation's electricity from clean sources within the next 10 years, upgrade the United States power grid, invest in energy efficiency and renewable technology, and provide training for jobs in the new green economy. But when asked, how much do you support or oppose the aforementioned suite of policies, 81% of registered voters say they either somewhat support or strongly support the plan, according to new survey results shared exclusively with HuffPost from the Yale Program on Climate Change Communication and George Mason University. 92% of Democrats supported the idea, including 93% of liberal Democrats and 90% of moderate to conservative Democrats. But 64% of Republicans, including 75% of moderate to liberal Republicans and 57% of conservative Republicans, also backed the policy goals outlined in the Green New Deal. 88% of independents endorsed the policies as well. Given that most Americans have strong support for the components and ideas of the Green New Deal, it has become a communication strategy problem. Abel Gustafson, a postdoctoral associate at Yale who co-authored a report on the findings, said by phone Sunday, "From here, it's about how can you pitch it so you can maintain that bipartisan support the rest of the process." The survey's description of the Green New Deal's tenets did not mention that more than 40 progressive members of Congress are championing the policy. That group includes Representative-elect Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Congressman John Lewis, and Senator Jeff Merkley. What's so interesting about this, do you ever notice in America that the things that are most popular are the things that are called the most radical? Do you ever notice in America, and by the way, good point in the super chat. I can't forget Jill Stein. I mean, the Green New Deal was Jill Stein's baby, not Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So thanks for straightening me out. So, 90% of Americans want extended background checks, universal background checks. Not happening. 70% of Americans want Medicare for all, including 52% of Republicans. Apparently not happening. 80-something percent. What was it? 80%, I think, want a Green New Deal. Sure, they don't know exactly what it is, but when you list the actual things that are part of that Green New Deal, it's wildly popular. But you never hear about these things on corporate media. You think CNN doesn't do any segments on Medicare for all. They barely talk about the Green New Deal. Neither does the New York Times. So usually in democracies, you go with the will of the people. So the will of the people is enacted through voting for public officials, through things like ballot measures, state and local voting on policies, and the will of the people is enacted. I think this is a great step. I think that these progressives, I really would like to hear a lot less. I want to hear a lot more from progressives about the Green New Deal, about Medicare for all, about shaming the Democratic Party that, let's tweak Obamacare. No. Get to their offices and let's start protesting. Get to their offices and let's start demanding that they stop taking money from pharmaceutical companies. Get to these offices. I'm talking Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, all of them. The time for diplomacy ended 10 to 20 years ago. It's time to get in their faces. Not be violent, no violence. We need Medicare for all. We need a Green New Deal, and we need these things yesterday. And it's the time for talking nice and negotiating with Nancy Pelosi and negotiating with Chuck Schumer, because I got news for you. You're not going to beat Donald Trump with a nicer sounding, a lighter version of a Republican. You're not going to beat Donald Trump that way. And the only way, I mean, the goal is to get rid of extreme conservatism, right? That's the goal. That's what progressives actually want. We want to defeat Donald Trump. We want to defeat the Paul Ryans of the world. We want to defeat the Mitch McConnells of the world. We want to defeat these Tea Party lunatics. We want to get rid of the trickle-down economics. We want to get rid of the racist economic policies by Republicans. But you cannot get rid of those things with milder racist policies. You can't get rid of those things with milder trickle-down economics. You can't get rid of those things with equally bought-off politicians that are just less racist. A competent opposition party could defeat someone like Donald Trump in their sleep. A competent opposition party that's actually progressive could defeat the Paul Ryans of the world, the Mitch McConnells of the world, the Kellyanne Conways of the world. They're frauds. They're corrupt. They're clearly in bed with Wall Street. They're clearly giving money to their donors. Donald Trump's entire administration is straight out of Wall Street. But because we don't actually have a progressive opposition party in this country, we have a nicer sounding Republican Party masquerading as progressives. The most dangerous politician is not the one that you could tell is corrupt, that you could tell is racist, that you could tell is Islamophobic, that you could tell is in bed with all the special interests, that you could tell isn't out for you. The most dangerous politician is the one that you can't tell, that seems to be on your side, that comes off like they're for the working man or woman, that seems like they're populist. Smooth talker, slick Willie, phony baloney.